Till now, we have learned a lot of things in Python. Talking about the libraries in Python. Now, what you are going to ask me, what are libraries? Are we going to library to study Python? No, we are not doing anything like that. The thing is, there are many built-in or external libraries present in the Python through which we can take the important things, like from the math library I can import the math function. Like means you do not have to perform the operations, you can just simply import the library and it is going to make your work simple. Like for the date and time, if you want to import the date and time, there is also a library for that. If you want to perform the calculation, then math library is there. If you want to interact with the operating system, then there is one more library present there. And we are going to study these libraries only and how we are going to work with them in this video. And before proceeding, I just want you to tell that there are also external libraries which are numpy, pandas and other things, which numpy, pandas, pytorch, numpy, pandas, pytorch, scipy, etc. And we are not going to study in this video. We are going to study it in the further videos. Till then, we will learn only the libraries which are built in. We are going to learn only few libraries here, and the rest of the libraries are going to be in very depth. So we are going to make a particular video for that library. Till then, I request you to watch this video till the end. So without wasting any time, let's move to the computer screen and let's get started. Now, since we are going to learn about the Python modules, so I have opened my Visual Studio Code, and I also request you to open your Visual Studio Code, and we are going to learn about the modules. Now, what is basically a module? Module is a file containing set of functions included in your applications. Let's say I want to create the function like hello. So I will just create a module, another. I will just create a file named as module. I will just create a new file, and here from here I will write the file name as my module generally. And you also know that we save the Python files using the .py extension, so I'm going to create it. I want to save it as, I will create the file. You can see my module.py is created, and I also created one more file named my.py. And now if I want to run it, if I want to link this my module with this my.py, so that if whatever the function I am going to write in my module.py is going to be imported in the my.py file, original file. So how I can write it, I will just simply define my function first. I will write here def and then function name, which is, let's say, def morning. I will create a function named def greet, and in this I will just simply write greeting. In this I am going to define, we have already studied about the functions. I hope you have watched this video before. So I will remove this, and what I'm going to print in this, I will just simply write print hello. So in order to import this function in my main.py, what I'm going to write, I will import it using the import function. What I will write here, I will write import my module, and it is going to be imported here. But the thing is, why we created this separate module, so that we can make our code more cleaner, and if any function we want to see, we can just see by opening the mymodule.py. So coming back to the my.py, I have just imported the import my module here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just simply going to write my module. I want to call that function. So in order to call the function, I will just write here my, I will just simply write my module name, which is my module here. One important call guys, I will just be back. Give me a minute. Coming back, how I can import the module, I will just simply write my module, which is my module name, and the function name which I want to import in this. Here I want to import, let's say I have created so many functions here, so I want here as of now to import the greet function. So in order in order to import the greet function, I will just simply write dot the function name which I want to import dot greet, and in the bracket I will just simply pass the name which I want to print. Let's say I want to print here Ria, so I will just pass it, and I have to write it using the plus symbol. I will just write plus symbol here to in order to include the name. Since we have to, I want to import the name here, so I am going to pass my variable as name here also. So running, and I am name here also. This is my function created, and coming back to the my py file my file, I have just imported my module here, and I am passed the name as Ria, and I am going to run this now. Hope that it's work fine. See here we are getting hello Ria as our output. Moving forward, if I want to, you can see here here's the syntax of how we can import using how we can use a function from a module using the module name and then dot function name. I hope that makes sense. Talking about naming a module, I have already discussed it with you that we are going to, I have already discussed with you that we are going to name it using .py file and renaming. Uh, if we want to rename this, like if my module name is so long, here my module name is so long, so I am going to write it as a shortcut in my main file as the name whichever I want to write. Let's say I want to write M. So what is going to happen whenever I'm going to write, I don't have to write my module again and again. I will just simply pass M instead of my module, so it is going to work as a short name a for a module. Like we are having short names in our house also, and our mother used to call using that name. So similarly in this python also, we are having short name. We can use this as function which is called as alias or whatever you want to pronounce. It is written here, this is called as aliasing. We can create an alias using the as function. Moving forward to the built-in functions in modules, There are several built-in functions in Python like platform function, the dir function, and math function, time date and time function. We are going to study all of this in depth. Talking about the platform function, what is going to happen in the platform function? I am going to write the platform function. In order to import the functions, what I am going to write here, in order to import the functions, what I am going to write here, in the top I will just write import platform, and then I am going to write, see here my platform function is imported. What is the platform function going to do? It is also giving me the it is also giving me the its definition. When I'm hovering over it, you can see this is the quality of the Visual Studio Code itself. So without wasting any time, I will come back to the platform function. In order to perform the platform function, let's say I will just assign a variable answer as platform dot system, and then I am going to print. This is the way of calling the platform function, and I am going to print this. Keep in your mind that if I have not imported the function, then I am not able to run it and it is going to give me an error. Running it, see what I am getting. It is returning me my platform on which I am running my code. Here I am running my code on Asus TUF gaming laptop, so it is a Windows and it's returning me a window. If I am using a MacBook, then it is going to return me a MacBook, and so on. This is a good quality of platform function. We are also going to run this and perform this and see what it is returning. I have imported the platform function. It is going to, dir function is also going to be operated on the platform function itself. So for dir function, I have to write dir and in the bracket platform, and simply run this. See here what it's returned me. It's returned me all the information of my all the defined name keywords defined in this platform function, which are doc underscore underscore file underscore underscore loader, etc. And we are having so many functions, keywords, we are having so many defined name in this platform function, and it is dir is going to return all of this. With the help of dir function, we can return all of the things which are all of the named variables in our platform module. Now I have to, now the question, let's come to the question part. I have to import the platform module. How we can import it? I will import it using the import platform. This is the way of importing the platform function. I will just simply write import platform, and I want to print the system platform. So in order to print the system platform, what was the command? I will just simply write here print, and I am going to store, going to simply print it. So what I can write is, I will write platform, and I want to know the system. So for that I will just simply write dot system here, and in after that bracket close, and I am going to check this it's running fine or not. It's running fine, and we are returned with our system as Linux, as I am operating it on the web page, and it's not my system, and we are performing it on the another website, so it's returning me the Linux. See, we have done completed this question. Moving to the next part of this. Next part is how we can import date and time in our function. So Python does not contains date and time of its own. If you are creating a, let's say if you are creating a project, let's say if you are creating a project and in that you want to import the date and time, and you want to show it, so you can import it using the import date and time. For this I have do not have to create any another module, or I can just simply create it also, but I am going to import it directly into my main file. I will just simply write here import. In order to import the date and time, I will just use import date time function. It is going to import me date and time, accurate date and time. So I will just, in order to print the current date and time, I will just use the now function. How I am going to write it? I will write here print, and in the bracket I will just remove all of this. It is no more of use as of now. We have learned it. And in order to import date and time, what I'm going to write here, I will write date time function dot, and date time. We want we want both date and time, so I'm writing date time here. If you want only date, you can write only date. If you want only time, you will write only dot time, and so on. And moving forward, I will write here date time dot now. It is going to return me now value, what is the time and date as of now. I'm just simply running it. See, I am returned with the date and time value here. It is a good thing. Moving forward, it can also return me the year and the name of the weekday. How we are going to in, show, I am going to show it now. Before proceeding further in the date time section, I want to tell you that if I want to write the weekday in short version, then I will put percentage a in small letters. In full version, I will write in capital A. And you can just keep in mind as of now, and in the in in the further part I am going to explain you how we are going to use this. And moving forward, weekday as a number from 0 to 6. 0 is a Sunday, then percentage W. Day of the month from 1 to 100, percentage D. Similarly, we are having so many. You can see this using, you can see this from the, I will attach this link of this PDF in the description, and you can try it also from here. See, like, but before trying it, I am I before trying it, I want you to explain how it is working, and then you can go and try any one of which you want to try. Talking about the strf time method, if I want to take only one parameter, the name of the, if I have specified a particular date and time, so I will just use percentage %b in order to get the name of the month. We have we have talked about the strf, like there are the different types of percentage we can use, but here I'm going to tell you only the one. Rest all you can run it by yourself. I'm going to show you one or two of them. And let's say I have defined a date and time as, I have created a variable named x, and I am going to use this only. You can see here, I will just copy paste it here. I have taken x as date time dot date and time. I have taken the date as 2018 6 and 1. So I want only percentage %b, which means I want only the month name. So it is going to return me sixth month, which is June. Let's run this and see whether it's returning me fine or not. Let's run this and see. Let's run this and see whether it is returning me fine or not. See, it returned me June as my output. If I want only the weekday in the short version, so I will write percentage %a. I will write here and see what it is returning me. Run without debugging and then see here, it is returning me Friday in short, not the full F Friday. Okay, as to, as you can check on your calendar also, on 2018 sixth month first date was Friday. So you can perform all of this. I will going to perform percentage for you, which is a percentage character a. I will just simply try it and see what it is returning. I will write here percentage and then going to run this, run without debugging, and see it's returning me only percentage, nothing else. Okay, moving forward. Next we have the create data type, data objects. If I create that create data object, if I want to fix the three parameters date, if I want to fix the parameters which is in the order year, month and day, then I can use the date time also. What I am going to write in order to specify and fix it, I will just simply create another variable named x, and here I will write date time dot, and in the date time I will write dot date time, and here I will fix my date as, let's say 2026 here, 2026, and our month as seventh month. It's seventh month as of now, and tell me the month which in tell me the year in which you are watching my video. I want to see whether it's working in after years or not. I'm just talking, just be chill. I have created the date here also, so I am going to print this. In order to print this, I will just simply write print x, and it is going to return me the my date which I have given it as the input. See here, I am getting the my date here. If I also specify the time, I will also get the time. You can write here date, you can write here time also if you want to. Moving forward, moving next to our next library, which Moving next to the questions, if I want to I have to perform a question here. What is the question says that inside the editor complete the following step. Import datetime module. So in order to, I am going to run it line by line. So I will just simply import my module here. Import datetime, and this is the way of importing the module if you remember this. Now what it is saying, store the current date and time in a variable called x. I am going to create a variable named x, and in this I am going to import datetime, which is my module name. Dot datetime, I want to import both date and time, so I'm using dot datetime. And I want to import the current date and time, so I will use here dot now and then braces, and I here want to print only the year from the x. So what I am going to write here, I will just write print, and in order to print the in order to print only the year, what I will write here, print x. I will just simply run this and see what I am returned with. See, on printing the x, we are getting the whole thing, date, time, year, everything. But I only want to print the year. What I am going to write here. So for the year, I will just simply write here percentage y in capitals on the or in the small, and I am going to write here x dot strf time dot, and in the braces I will write this part. Okay, in instead of percentage b, I will write percentage y. Moving back to the question, what was the question saying? And now in order to print the year, what I will write here, I will write here print, I will write here cap cap instead of, when I'm running it with small y, it is returning me only this value, and this is not what the compiler asked for. So I'm going to write here capital Y in order to return the whole year. As of now, I will run it and check it if it is running fine. See, yes, this question is passed, and we also print the year from the X. Moving next, what we have, Python library in Max. Python library contains so many built-in functions like minimum, maximum, and power, and other square root, also ceil function, floor function. We are going to study all of this. Talking about the min and max function, I will just simply import, first of all, import maths. Going back to the math function, how we are going to import the math function, we will just simply write import and then math. Might note that we are not going to write maths, maths, it is going not to be executed and it is going to give us an error. So we will just simply write here math function is defined only. You can click here and see also what are the different types of things, what are the different types of operations we included in the math function. You can see here, I will write maths, and by pressing here you can see the definition here. This module provides access to the mathematical functions. Now in order to perform some of the operations, we have library. in order to find the minimum, what we can do, we can just simply write the loop also, or find using the loop also. But what we are having the advantage of this math library in the Python, so why not to use it? I'm going to write numbers. Let's say I will write numbers as 10. Let's say I will write 10, x as 10, y as 15, and z as 45, and I want to print the minimum of these. What I'm going to write here, I will write print and then min function. Min function is used to find the minimum, and I want the minimum of these numbers x, y, and z, so I will write here x comma y comma z, and I will just simply run this. See what I am getting as my output. I am getting 10, which is obvious. The minimum of x, y, and z is basically 10. And what if I want to find the maximum? I will just simply write, instead of min, I will write here max function, and I am going to run this. I'm going see, and I am going to run this, and I am getting why I'm getting 15. Can you tell me why I'm getting 15? What if the thing is we have used x here? You are not watching this properly now. I told you to watch it properly and carefully. If I am writing this kind of mistake only, this kind of mistake also, you are going to tell me in the comment section. So I will write z here instead of x, and I am going to run this and see if it is working fine or not. Run without debugging, and we are getting 45 as our output. Yes. Moving to the next function, which is absolute function. What does the absolute value means? Absolute is going to round off the value and return. If it is negative, then it is going to return me the positive value. If positive, then again positive value is going to be returned in the answer. So what is absolute function? So what is absolute function is going to do? Let's say I have taken an variable named a, and here I have given the value as -6 or -6.7, then it is going to return me my 6.7 as my absolute value. You have studied absolute value in 12th class also, maths. If you haven't, it is not a big thing, not a big deal. You do not have to learn, you do not have to master the mathematics in order to learn the coding. You can just simply learn the very valuable things which we are going to use in our this programming. I will just simply run this and see what I am returning with, and I will write here absolute function abs as my function name, absolute name as abs, and in the bracket I am want the absolute value of a. So I am going to run this and see here what I am getting. Absolute value of a is 6.7, and I am going to print the absolute value of positive number also. And on running the absolute value of positive number, I will add here for x and run this. I'm going to return with the positive value itself, and on running this I'm getting with the positive value. Just don't make a big issue of this. It is just going to return me the positive value. Absolute value means positive value. I hope now it's in your brain and in your mind now. You are not going to forget it. Moving to the power. if I want to return the power of 2 to the power 4, let's say 2 to the power is how much, you can just calculate it using the power function. What I'm going to return here is I am going to use the POV as my power function. I will just simply write here print and in the bracket as power, which means powers, and after that I want to let's say I want to calculate 2 to the power 4. I will write here 2 comma 4, the base as 2, base written as first and power as last, and I am going to run this and see if I am getting fine or not. See here, we are getting 16. 2 to the power how much? 8 or 16? It's 16. The next function we have is square root. In order to perform the square root, what I am going to do is I will write sqrt as my import math function. Keep in your mind that you have to import the math function in order to run all these max, mean, absolute functions. If you are not going to import this, it is going to give me now. Now talking with the square root function, how I can write the square root function. In order to write the square root function, I will write print sqrt. This is the way of writing the square root function. And let's say I want to find the square root of 2. I am going to have the value of 1.14. I think so. It is the value of square root 2. I will just run it and see what I am getting. I have to write, in order to run the square root function, I have to write here print math dot sqrt, which is going to run the square root function, and in the bracket I will write, let's say 2 and bracket close. Now I am going to run this. See here what I am getting. I am getting 1.1414 as my output, which is the value of square root of maths. Next function we have is ceil and the floor function. What is the ceil function? Ceil function, it is going to return me the I have taken one value in decimal, and what the ceil function is going to return me, it is going to return me the updated value which is greater than that. And the floor function is going to return me the lower value. How we can remember this? We can remember this, that the ceil is above our head, so it is going to return me the higher value, whereas in the floor it is going to return me the lower value. We have print x as, we have, for example, here we have 1.4 and the ceil value is going to be the higher, as ceil is higher, so it is going to return me the 2. And here we are having 1.4 for the floor, so floor is lower, so we are going to have 1 as our output. Next we have pi. In pi, value of pi is 3.14, and if you are going to write it, you are definitely going to introduce an error, since you are definitely going to introduce an error since pi is so long value, and any mistake. So instead of writing the pi value, we will just simply write math.pi as an output, and we are going to print it. Let's say I will write here x is equal to math.pi. Do not forget to write math in front of the pi function. It is not going to be run otherwise. And I will print it simply. I will write here print x, and it is going to return me the value of pi. See here, I'm getting the value of pi printed here. Now I want to show you the module. complete math module, what are the modules included in the math library, I can show you here that it contains different types of functions: degrees, distance, ERF, exponential, factorial, floor, and fsum, GCD, is finite, is none. You can study all of this, and the important function I have already discussed with you. Next we have next we are going to solve the question on this only. We have learned the math function. We are going to perform a question on this. What it is saying that print the lowest value of 5 and 10 using the min function. I will print here. I will just simply write the command and print. I want to print the lowest value, so I will use the min function here, and in the bracket the values as 5 and 10, and bracket close. Now it wants the highest value of 5 and 10 using the max function. I will write here print, and in the bracket I will write here max, and I want the values maximum between 5 and 10, so I am just simply running it here. Now for the absolute value we have ABS. We have already studied that, and it is going to return us the positive value no matter what. It's negative then positive, then if it's negative going to return me the positive value, and it's if it is always positive, then the positive value is always the positive value, no need of changing it. I will write here print, and in the bracket I will write absolute ABS, and the value which I want the absolute of, it is minus 7.25. Yes, we will write here. And next is we want to print the 4 to the power 3 using the print power function. What I will what what I what I will write here, I will write here print, and in the bracket power, and I want to find the power of 4 to the power 3. I will write 4 first and then 3, bracket close, and I am going to run this. Hope it worked fine. Yes, all my test cases are passed. And moving to the next part, we have moving to the last part of this video, which is try, accept, and error handling. We are going to learn this in this particular video, and then we will wrap up this section. Then we will wrap up this session. And the thing I want to tell you is, why do we need try and accept block? Like if I have made a very long, like if I have done so much coding in a website, in my code, in my project, and I want to try something new, and I don't want to give the error. So in order to try it, I will just simply use the try and accept block, which means if it is working fine, then it is going to execute this. Otherwise, the exception is going to happen. It is exception will handle the error and tell me what is the error in my block, and working towards the finally will executes finally will execute regardless of the code. If it is having the error or not, it is going to be executed no matter what. I am going to show you here. Let's say I want to print x. I will write here try and then semicolon. After that, enter. An indentation will come. I will write here my code, which I'm thinking it might have a error or not, so I will write it in the try block. And after that I will write accept also. Try and accept comes in pair, so we can execute it like this only. And I in if there is an error, I will return here error there, error is present. So I will write here error is present, and I am going to run this. Since I have not given, I'm going to run this. See here, error is present. Why error is present? I have given the value x, but the thing is I haven't defined x as of now. If I define x, if I define x as now, and it is going to print me the value of x, not the error. So it is a good practice whenever you are going to insert a new code block of code in your program. So it is a good practice there. I will run this and see I am getting 5 as of now, my output. Now talking about the finally block, I can also define the I can also define the different types of error. Like if I am having the name error, I have print I have taken x. If I want the name error to be different types of error to be executed, then I can specify them that name error is present. Otherwise all the other errors are going to be handled in this find except block, and which I've written in the last. I will write here something went wrong, and I will just simply run this. See here, if I am going to print the x, instead of x I will print y. I have not given the x, so it is going to return me an error. Which error? Name error. And we are getting the our warning as name error is present. If I write here instead of x, instead of y, I will write here something which, instead of try I will write here tr. This is something else error, and if I am going to run this, it is going to return me something went wrong, not the name error. See here, I am going to run this. Syntax error. We are getting syntax error. So I have to try for that. Let's say I am giving here space and it is showing me with this red line also. This is the good thing of the compiler of the Visual Studio Code. Till, but let it be. I want to see the error. It is going to return me. See here, I am getting something went wrong, indentation expected. I want to stop debugging it as it is giving me error. Now I am going to run this. See here, indentation expected. It is going to return me the error which is present in the code. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Moving forward to the else block. What is else block is going to do here with the try and except. You can just write the else keyword to define a block of code to execute it if no errors were raised. Means if there is no error present in my code, then else block is also going to be executed. Else block is going to be executed, but finally is executed no matter what try except is executed or not. Finally is going to be executed like your x. With this, you can try this also, how this is going to give an error. Moving to the question, what our question is saying that we will first read the question and just run it. First, in first line, it is saying that write a try block that tries to print a variable x which is not defined. Write an except block that prints an error occurred. Write a finally block that prints execution completed. Means we have to make three blocks: try, except, and finally. And we will run this also. We will first write the try block, and before that we have in the try block what we have to do, we have to try printing the variable which is not defined, x. After the try, I'm after try I will write here print x. Since this is a different compiler, so indentation is not getting here itself. I will try to run it without indentation to see whether it is performing without indentation, as the W3 schools has made this compiler, so they haven't, I think so they haven't decided the indentation here. Or we will see also we have to give the indentation here necessarily or not. I will just first write my code, and then in the except block I have to write except spelling is wrong, except that what is going to happen here, print, we have to print an error occurred. I will write here an error occurred, and then bracket close. And in finally what I'm going to write, in the finally I have to write that execution completed, print execution completed, execution completed, completed, and semicolon, that braces and double quotation closed and braces also. I am going to run this and see we are getting fine output or not. See, we have got the error here, since it is not entered inside the loop. So I am going to give 4 spaces by myself, as I am entering in the Visual Studio Code, like we get the 4 spaces itself. But here I'm not getting, I don't know what's wrong with this. If you are seeing me, if the producer of this W3 Schools is watching this video, please fix it out. I'm requesting you to fix it out. 1 2 3 4. Here also I will give 4 space, 1 2 3 4, and here also. And I will now try to run this. What the error I'm getting? Syntax error. And recommend vector 5. Syntax error we are getting. Oh, I have put this. Now run this. Yes, guys, executed. See here, I am going to check this and run this again. See, all my things are completed, and we have finally learned about the try, except, else, finally, maths, libraries, and so many things in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Moving back, exiting our computer screen and let's meet what we have learned, and a quick we are going to do a quick revision also there, so meet there. So with this we have finally come to an end, and today we have learned a lot of things, how we can import libraries, functions and modules, how we can take different types of functions, how we can take different modules, how we can import, what are the built-in functions, how we can import external functions also. And this comes to an end, and I hope you enjoyed learning this, and you also solved the question by yourself. I hope that. Now we have completed a lot about the built-in functions. In the next video we are going to solve a lot of questions we have practiced, a lot of questions we are going to practice of till now. We have learned about the things like list, tuples, dictionary. We are going to solve all these problems on the HackerRank one by one. And before that I request you to practice this, and after that we are going to start with our OOPS concept, which is considered as the most important parts. And after completing the OOPS part we are going to, this is going to our beginning in the industry, as we are going to see how the industry works and how we are going to run the programs in the industry. So I hope you are going to join the next sessions and learn the OOPS concepts also. Till then, keep learning, keep watching. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.